Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum's video podcast, Stay Curious. Glad that you're with us today. We've got a group of space history, eclectic mix here today. If you like the Jetsons, well, the historic day for the Jetsons, actually on September 23rd when it first aired on television. We've got some breaking news. We got a new commander up at the International Space Station, somebody that didn't expect to be the commander of the ISS, but someone who was over a decade ago. And we're going to feature STS-86, a mere docking that brought back David Wolf after, Michael Follett brought back and dropped off David Wolf, the final astronaut to be on the Russian Mir space station in the late 1990s, some 30 years ago. So, and we're going to celebrate three Hispanic astronauts, as this is Hispanic month from the September 15th to October 15th every year in the United States. So hello to Marty Winkle. How are you today, sir? We've got thanks for picking out a Tom Usiak photograph there of STS-86 rocketing off the pad there in 1997 on September 25th. That was a 10:30 night launch there of Atlantis. So, and Marty, I'm hankering to see Atlantis. I haven't seen it suspended up in its building in a while. So, how you doing, Marty?
I'm doing good, Mark. But you need to get out there and see Atlantis, just for the fun of it.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like, therapy and medicine to get out there on the campus of Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. And with all that's been going on with our transition here of our executive director passing away, Karen Conklin, we still miss her very dearly, but a lot of things are in motion to keep the American Space Museum just the way you all like it. A warm, cozy, warm fuzzy of a museum celebrating the American space history and our wonderful space program. And what makes it warm and fuzzy is you're close to the exhibits. We've got one-of-a-kind exhibits. We've got odd things like a brick thrown out of Apollo 15 moonport, only place in the world you're going to see that. And then some rare manuscripts like the manual to get astronauts out of the Apollo Block 1 spacecraft we have here. So those of you that have been here, you know what I'm talking about. And those of you that haven't, put it on your bucket list. You won't be disappointed. And of course, the Space Coast has a lot to offer, as Marty and I are talking to you, just 10 miles from where the rockets are poised to launch in space. I want to remind everybody that we got a memorabilia show coming up. This will actually be our 5th one. We're so proud that you all have embraced this. November 2nd, 9 to 3 o'clock at Beachside Hotel. Was talking to the events manager, Suzanne, today. She's been real good to us. Tables are $30 if you want one. I've got one reserved for you, Bill Whiting, and Tammy Miller's gonna share a table there. Tori Varquette said she's all in. I know Carlton Bailey will bring his flea market road show there. Not really. He's got great fleas. It's good fleas that Carlton has. Carlton gave me an update on the crewed launch that I'll give you here in just a minute. What can you get at the Space Memorabilia Show? Well, Marty will be selling a real Mylar off of Apollo 17 that he took off when something had to be replaced. Astronaut autographs. Ken Havocott will be there to authenticate things for you if you choose. If you've got an autograph from Neil Armstrong, you wonder if it's real, just take a picture of it and send it to me, and I'll get it to Ken, and they can almost tell in an instant if it's real or not, looking for the things that you don't know. Yes, Marty?
Yeah, Carlton wants 3 tables.
Carlton wants 3 tables. All right. Well, I got him fixed up, and actually, we'll talk about that later, Carlton. Already thought about the layout, and we're going to do some wonderful things there for everybody. Well, let me get my YouTube channel here. I'm trying to get it on. Let's maybe hit the live button. There I am. So see, I've already made 90. I've made 120 bucks already for a museum with with that on there. Hello, Doug Forrest and Dean Babcock. Dave Stange, of course, is watching. Steve Jokums says good afternoon to you, me, and all the gang from Lake County Spaceport in Fox Lake, Illinois. Enjoy those nice warm weather days there. Finally got under 90 degrees here, Marty. In fact, I had the windows down because it was 78 coming in about 9:30 this morning. So we appreciate everybody watching us today. And fall is in the air, second day of autumn. And, you know, something to look forward to. I know when I was living up north, love the autumn colors. You just don't get it down here in Florida. Something we are going to get here is a hurricane. We'll talk about that in a moment. There's a little artwork to remind you we're going to be talking about 3 Hispanic astronauts that are really groundbreaking astronauts for sure. But on this date in space history, as you know, I love space history and I also love cartoons. And the Jetsons premiered on September 23rd. That would have been yesterday. I'm a day late. Guess what? It was in 1962. Wow, 62 years ago. Holy cow. And I remember it. Sunday night, 7:30 on ABC, opposite Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Disney on NBC. And the live-action Dennis the Menace sitcom was also Sunday night. But everybody mostly was watching NBC with the Wonderful World of Disney, and then they'd flip over to CBS to see Ed Sullivan Show. But this was the first color program of ABC. The only viewers in a few cities could actually see it in color. So I'm sure in Findlay, Ohio, I saw it in black and white. The show premiered in 1962 at the height of the space race, as the United States and the Soviet Union competed to make it to the moon first. 51 episodes, though surprisingly, a lot of people talk about the Jetsons, Marty, and there's a classic picture with the robot in the back, and George Jetson and his wife Julie. No, his wife was Julie. The daughter was Julie. Someone have to tell me who the wife is. And the dog is Astro in there. Only lasted for a year, believe it or not. Was not renewed after one season. So it only had like 25 episodes. And then between 1985 and 87, it was revived with 51 new episodes and an animated movie hit the theaters in 1990. Believe it or not, the Smithsonian Magazine blog Paleo Future called the show, quote, the single most important piece of 20th century Futurama that helped define the future for so many Americans today. Well, we haven't seen any flying cars, Marty. What are you going to talk about on that UCF family microphone?
I'm going to tell you, Jetson's wife's name is Jane.
Jane, his wife Jane, okay. And his son, Chip. Carlton knows all this. Hi, Robert Law, watching in Scotland. And anyway, you know, what a fun show. You can catch it now. Several Rabbit Ear TV shows have got retro cartoons on there for free. The Jetsons included flying cars that folded into a briefcase, floating cities. They had video chat, okay? In 1962, video chat was just a common thing, and that's come true. And, of course, the all-knowing computer called Rudy, short for Referential Universal Digital Indexer. And, of course, there were colonies on other planets. Yes, Marty?
Elroy.
Elroy, the boy. The boy's name is Elroy. Thank you, Steve Jokums there. So there we have the whole family there. George, Jane, husband and wife, Elroy, the boy. Not a very futuristic name. And Julie, the daughter, Astro, the dog. And the robot's name was Rosie the robot. I'm pretty sure it was Rosie. And Rosie the Robot Maid. There you go, Steve Jokums. Thank you all for watching that. I know you all love it. And when we talk about a little bit of space history like that, after all, this is part of the American fabric. And we've always wanted to go to space. And why we don't support it when we love the Jetsons and we love Star Trek and Star Wars, why aren't we supporting this? And why do people even doubt that we landed on the moon when it's such a fabulous thing that's changed our society, space? So sometimes I don't get it. Breaking news, we got some launches coming up here. How many people in space right now? Well, that'd be 12 humans orbiting the Earth. And we're going to try to get 2 more up there this week. There is the Russian on the left, and Ganyenko, I think's his name. And then you've got Nick Hague on the right. He rode a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to launch. It aborted. And he and his other crewmate that's on the ISS went up 70 miles, Marty, and came back down in a suborbital flight, and then they flew up later. We'll talk about that when they get up to space here, maybe on Friday. By the way, Wednesday, we're going to have Jerry White. Will be here tomorrow. I'll post it on Facebook. And Thursday, we've got a very new, wonderful person, Samantha. I forget Samantha's last name. She will be on, a children's book author will be on Thursday. So Carlton just sent this. This launch is scheduled for 2:30 Thursday, 2:05, excuse me. NASA just sent this. A launch advisory update will be sent out tentatively tomorrow morning. We have Tropical Storm Helene is on the west coast of Florida, hunkering down towards north of Sarasota, right into the elbow of our state. Again, a second assault on that part of the state. So it's doubtful that the winds and so forth would allow this launch. At the same time, we'll send out, so NASA says launch advisory will be sent out Wednesday morning. At the same time, we will send out all credentialing instructions and launch activity information. There are no pre-launch activities Wednesday. Well, that tips it off right there. If there's no pre-launch activities Wednesday for a Thursday launch. So this is just sent out by NASA. Not looking good on the weather station, according to maps, Carlton says. But everybody should have figured that out yesterday. Indeed. So the Crew Dragon 9, probably Saturday, is when the weather will clear up for that launch. 2:05 in the afternoon. It moves about 20 minutes each day, something like that, earlier to coincide with the International Space Station. So yeah, that might be around a 12:30 launch, I would guess, on Saturday. So that will probably be postponed. And Monday is a Starlink block that's supposed to go off, but they haven't given the time for that off Pad 40. So that's going to be scrubbed because, well, they could launch. They're launching on Pad 40, by the way, not 39A. This is the first crewed launch off Pad 40, and that's kind of historic, Marty, in a way. Samantha Graham. Thank you, Dave Stange. He's looking up my slide I put up for her on there. Good afternoon, Tom Usiak. I believe this is one of your team's photos there behind there. All right, so of STS-86 we're going to talk about, bound for the Mir Space Station in 1997. So Friday, we're going to really get busy in October. We'll have a lot of guests in October here at the museum, Marty, because we get an international push. We've got the Vulcan certification flight 2 for ULA's Vulcan will be Friday, October 4th, a week from Friday. That's 6 a.m. And Monday, October 7th is a asteroid deflecting mission called Hera at 10:52 a.m. And then the big one we're all waiting for, Falcon Heavy to launch the European Clipper Europa clipper that's going to the moon Europa of Jupiter that has ice on top of it and an ocean that might be 150, 200 miles thick or even more. That more water on Europa than on the Earth. This moon that's a little bigger, about the size of our Earth's moon. So that'll be Thursday, October 10th. So a lot going on, and we've got a new commander on the International Space Station as Sonny Williams shakes the hand there of Konyenko. Konyenko and the people in the green shirts in the back came back to Earth, except Jeanette Epps up there in the upper left. Came back to Earth yesterday morning. Three of them. That's Tracy Dyson in the middle, and the other Russian up there at the top right, his head above the crew in the red. Sonny Williams becomes the second-time commander. The last time she was a commander was 12 years ago, Expedition 18 or something like that. And here it is, Expedition 72 she will be the commander of. And I mentioned on Facebook that like Gilligan going out, the sitcom Gilligan's Island, an 8-day cruise has turned into 8-month and a new command for her. And 69-year-old Don Pettit's right there in the middle. He probably could have been chosen as the commander or one of the Russians. So it's just interesting. We're going to have crew that she's the new commander, never even thought about it. Of course, she loves it. She calls it her happy place. Her husband of 20-some years is a Texas marshal, and they don't have any children. They're big dog lovers, so she don't have kids waiting at home to wonder where mom is, but she gonna miss Christmas, Thanksgiving, like Butch is. Where's Butch at? Butch Wilmer is he's blocked off behind her there in the red, I believe. Anyway, congratulations, Sonny Williams, unexpected new commander of the International Space Station, shaking hands there with the man who spent more time in space than any other human being, Konyenko, Alexander Konyenko, 1,111 days on 5 International Space Station expeditions. Incredible. Hope he's feeling well. They're all getting their sea legs back now, and we'll follow that up on there. So, all right, let's talk about the shuttles of the month of September. You know I love the 11 beautiful shuttles that were launched in the month of September. They included just 3 of the orbiters, though, as Challenger and Columbia did not have any flights in the month of September. Discovery and Atlantis had 4 each, and Endeavour 3. That's the letters I have on my graphic here. And we had 65 crew members launched. 5 of them were women. All right, we talked about from the 12th of the month to the 18th, there were 47 astronauts orbiting the Earth, can say they were in orbit, and 4 astronauts were in space twice on 2 different shuttle missions there. 7 shuttles orbiting the Earth in history from the 12th to the 16th. And 4 astronauts can say they were on 2 different flights. That'd be Waltz, Wilcott, Reddy, and Lee on there. So, but we're going to talk about the one in the middle bottom there. Let me get to that. When you see there, that was launched on the 25th of the month, which is tomorrow at night, STS-86 in 1997, Tom Usiak. Bring back some memories for you, buddy. There's the night launch. Let me pull that image up there, go forward. And let's talk a little bit about the emblem there of STS-86 in our mission patch book that many of you space geeks have, and the local ones go out and get it autographed by the astronauts on there. And I haven't done that, but I might start doing that since I use this a lot. Let's see. We had 86. They're never in order. Once you get up there, 82, 83, 84, then 94, then 85, then 86. There it is. is the 7th shuttle Mir docking mission. The international crew includes astronauts from the U.S., Russia, and France. Okay, that'd be Cretan, the astronaut from France, Cretan. Uh, I'll tell you a story about Cretan real quick. You know, in Home Depot where they rope off with cones and some tape and so forth, where they're working in the aisles. Cretan is behind that, and I'll tell you here in just a minute. The flags of these countries are incorporated in the rays of the astronaut logos. The 7 stars represent the 7th mission to the Mir space station. That's on the left over there. The rays of light streaking across the sky depict the orbital tracks of the 2 spacecraft as they prepare to dock. During the flight, an American astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut will perform a spacewalk. The Mercator projection of Earth illustrates the global cooperation nature of the flight. Artist Mark Pestana designed the patch with the help of the crew, of course. So, got a picture of the crew here. This Cretan is up there in the upper, he's on the far left there in the orange suit. And he was at a Home Depot in Johnson Space Center. I've heard this from 2 space managers out there, all right, who remain anonymous. He got hit in the head, Marty, with something that someone on the other side was pushing on, and he got hit in the arm or something like that. And it actually gave him enough of an injury that he had to be taken kind of grounded, like put on injury reserve, and not sure if he was knocked off that flight because of it. But when he found out that his arm or something was hurt by something that hit him in there, they didn't take it seriously enough at this in the box hardware store, and they George Abbey actually got involved. The Johnson Space Center director of manned space flight got and talked to the man. Hey, well, one of my astronauts got hurt out there. What are you going to do about it? And blah, blah, blah. And so this is a true story. I need to remember more details about it. But so because of that, Home Depot has these blocks off a whole aisle, so you can't even go down the aisle when they're stocking and stuff there during business hours. Can't make that stuff up, can I, Marty? So it has to be true. Jean-Luc Cretan on there. Got struck by some stuff in a hardware store. It actually injured him, and NASA made some reparations there for that. You better believe it. So there's the beautiful launch. It was at 10:34 p.m. That's a good time to launch a spacecraft. All right, as I'm a night owl. September 25th, 1997. Wow, Tom says, wow. 27 years flew by pretty fast, didn't they, Tommy? The landing was October 6th, so that was an 11-day mission. But this was picked up, the transfer of physician David Wolf to return Michael Foale after spending 145 days in space. There's the Mir space station. Foale was up there when a near fatal tragedy happened. On June 25th, a Progress resupply vehicle collided with the station's Spectre module, damaging the radiator in one of the 4 solar arrays on Spectre. And you can see the crinkled solar panel right there. It hit the Spectre right there, put a hole in it, depressurized that part of it. That is actually where Foale had his toothbrush, so to speak, where he would sleep. The crew sealed the hatch, leaving Foale's personal effects and several NASA experiments inside. They repressurized the remaining modules. During an internal spacewalk by 2 Russians, they tried to connect power cables and to the 3 undamaged solar arrays, but during a routine medical exam, the guy was found to have a irregular heartbeat, one of them. They planned to do that. So that began training for a spacewalk, but when the training exercises, a power cable was inadvertently disconnected. They had a lot of problems up there, and they finally did do an internal pressure spacewalk. They depressurized the whole mirror to go inside here and bring back Full's toothbrush, so to speak. But they did reconnect 11 power cables to solar arrays. So this was a big deal. They almost did not let David Wolf go back up there. Okay. That was a big deal. Apparently, almost a last minute decision where they were going to leave him on the space station because they felt the safety was compromised there. But nothing else happened, and they lived out the landing. And here is October 6th, the landing, and that is Mr. Harrington, Jim Harrington, the launch director, and Bob Seek there talking to him. Both two launch directors there. I think Seek actually launched this one, and Harrington had, where's my shuttle scroll? I've got that written down there with the launch directors and all. But there's two launch directors. Harrington was one of the early launch directors. Hope he's doing well. Hadn't talked to him in a while. And no, Harrington did launch that. Yeah, that was his next to the last flight. And there's Seek, Bob Seek there, and Hugh Harris also become the public affairs director during this time there. Love to talk to him, Marty. Jim Weatherby, 6 times a commander, 6 flights, 5 times a commander. And he's the drummer for the rock band, all astronaut rock band Max Q. Well, let's get into our National Hispanic Month here. We love celebrating these different months of the year, whether it be Women's Month of March or Black History Month of February. The Hispanic Heritage Month goes mid-months from September 15th to October 15th. So this is the first time we're mentioning it. Excuse me a second. And here we have a group of Hispanic Americans. You got Zimka. In the middle there is Ellen Ochoa. Okay, we're going to talk about Ellen here in just a minute. 4. She's got 4 space flights, all right. The upper left up there is Tony Olivia, I believe, is up in the upper left-hand corner. No, Olivia's in the bottom left-hand corner there. Noriega is the top left-hand corner. Maureen Noriega. Olivia's beneath him. Zemka is the upper right. That is Jose Hernandez in the orange suit to the left of Ellen Ochoa. And then you got Zemka, George Zemka, a Marine. And then you've got Acaba, Joe Acaba. He's an Artemis astronaut. He's in the upper right-hand corner. And Michael Lopez Allegra, an active astronaut with Axiom right now, is above my head there. So there's 7 of the notable ones. I think there's 15 total in there. We're going to talk a little bit about Ellen Ochoa, first Hispanic female to go to space. What everyone in the astronaut corps shares in common is not gender or ethnic background, but the motivation, perseverance, and desire to participate in a voyage of discovery. This outstanding woman was born in Los Angeles, California in 1958, but she considers La Mesa, California to be her hometown. She was the first female Hispanic astronaut to go to space. Selected in 1990. Her first mission, STS-86, was in 1993. Then she really rapidly went to space. A year later, in 94, she was on STS-66. Then 5 years later, in 1999, she was on STS-96. And her final mission was 3 years after that, STS-110 in 2002. She became the first Hispanic director at Johnson Space Center, their 11th director. She is a classical flautist and a private pilot. She enjoys volleyball and bicycling. And she roots for San Diego State University with her physics degree and a master's degree from Stanford University. So Ellen Ochoa, outstanding Hispanic astronaut, the first woman of Hispanic culture to go to space. Next, we're going to celebrate Sid Gutierrez, colonel in the U.S. Air Force. He was born in 1951 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was selected in 1984, veteran of 2 flights, the pilot of STS-40 in 1991, and then he was a commander of STS-59 in 1994. Seems like there have been quite a few pilots or commanders around. So one-time pilot and once a commander. I'm impressed by that. But Sid is the chairman of the board of Via Space, our local hometown rocket company in Cocoa, Florida, just 30 miles from here. And when it was created in 2017, he became part of it. And the launch command that Bob Seek said to him as commander of STS-59 in 1994 was Via Candias, and its traditional Godspeed in there. So a very good guy. He's got his STS-40 patch on his shirt there where he flew to space with 3 women. So Sid Gutierrez, hope to see him on Stay Curious and the Via Space friends of ours that we have their engineers on here quite frequently. We've had about 8 of them on so far, and their president Rob Fabian have been on Stay Curious of Via Space. They have used recycled plastic as fuel, and they'll be launching hopefully by 2027 low Earth orbit payloads. And to finally get off in National Hispanic Heritage Month here, Marty, we definitely are going to salute this guy. Jose Hernandez, from farm worker to astronaut. We have embraced him several times at the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex when he talked at their astronaut encounter. And born August 7th, 1962 in French Camp, California, but he considers Stockton, California to be his hometown. Applied about 16 times to be an astronaut, or rejected, something like that. And finally was chosen. He was a materials research engineer, but he became a mission specialist, and finally his dream to go to space on STS-128, the 37th mission to the space shuttle on 2009. His book, From Farm Worker to Astronaut, is all about being a migrant worker, one of 4 children. He did not learn to speak English until he was 12 years old. And there is a teacher in his background that is part of this tear-jerking movie, A Million Miles Away. Yes, I reached for the Kleenex, Marty, when a couple of these moments really got to me. The great good actor Michael Pena stars in this without a mustache. I can't believe Jose wouldn't let him not have a mustache in this, but you can see it on Prime, and it's very worthwhile, about his odyssey from migrant worker to astronaut. And the book is fabulous. Marty and I both read it. His father was very influential when he said, I want to be an astronaut. He was like 10 years old, and his dad hauled him into the kitchen where only 3 things happened. You ate, you prayed, or you got spanked. All right. Instead of any of those, his dad really inspired him to say, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to be outstanding. You're Hispanic. You're going to have to stand out. And he did. And he had a female teacher that attended his launch. That was a cool part of that movie too, wasn't it, Marty? So, and actually, Jose makes a cameo appearance in the White Room in there. There you are, buddy, with your buddy Jose there. What, found someone that is not as high, the same height as you, Marty.
No, he's shorter.
He's short. I hate using, I guess you can say the word short, and is that politically correct? But yeah. Comment about him. We hope to get him. Marty's been communicating with him to get him here. He's got a wine vineyard. He's really doing a lot of promotion now, but boy, every Hispanic group he can talk to, he will. Go ahead and comment, Marty.
Yeah, Jose's a lot of like a lot of the other astronauts. He's just so friendly, easygoing, down to earth, and you'd expect that, based on where he came from. But he's a very intelligent, very nice person.
Yeah, his wife, of course, family, the Hispanic culture is just so family oriented and supportive. Uh, his wife is a Michelin star chef. They had a restaurant in Houston. That was her dream. So he got his dream and she sacrificed, and he got his dream to go to space. Thanks, Steve Jokums. He said after 3 years and turned down 11 times, he was selected in 2004 in the month of May. One of the cool parts of this movie is that when he goes to work at one of the national science institutes, okay, as part of that he figured was good to him, a woman at the desk, when he asked for where his for his keys, she gave him the whole keys that the janitor had, okay, and yet he did something research that was kind of monumental and put his name out there, which was another thing that went on his application to NASA. And when he become a NASA astronaut and left that institution, he handed the same woman his keys that like he was the janitor, she thought he was the janitor the whole time he was there, and yet he was a research scientist that then became an astronaut. So can't wait to see him again. We hope to bring him to you here at the American Space Museum. He had saved in play that he could show up for Shuttle Fest, and maybe we'll have him at a Shuttle Fest down the road. So, Marty, thank you very much for a good job today. Thank you all for chiming in. Tom Celentano's at the STS-128 launch that also included our good friend Nicole Stott. Taking a quick trip up to the International Space Station for her expedition. And good morning to you, Cliff Watson. Day 2 of spring down in Pomona, Australia. So hope you're all enjoying that. Tell your friends to like us, share us, and whatever else you can do, my daughter says, so that people get out there and we get more people watching, as not just for us and for me and Marty, for our museum. And we don't understand when we have such wonderful guests willing to spend their time that we don't have more people watching them. But we'll get there. After 1,140 episodes, Marty, we'll be an overnight sensation one day, I think. So, and Gary Gerald hadn't given you a shout out. I'm reading that book by George Leopold, and I think you are too. So maybe we'll compare notes. So on Gus Grissom, called I forget the name of it. Something Consequences, which is what that Apollo 1 crew went through. So thank you everybody for being here. Terry White, the one and only, will be here taking your questions. We're going to actually Terry always brings a briefcase. I'm going to say, Terry, open that briefcase and show me what you got inside of it. And then we're going to have wonderful Samantha Graham here to talk about her education books for STEAM and kids. And we want to remind you all, we have a memorabilia show coming up November 2nd. So if you're local, start saving your money and buy yourself or that space geek on your list a wonderful Christmas gift. So thank you, Marty. And with Terry, we'll be back tomorrow with Mr. Terry White, the garage mechanic of the orbital processing facilities that maintain the shuttles for 30 years. Until then, I'm Mark Marquette saying, I can't wait to see you staying curious with me to bridge